When 30-year-old Megan Reinerston walked into baggage claim after leaving her flight in Indianapolis in the US, the other passengers nudged each other, looked and pointed as she made her walk of shame to the conveyor belt to collect her bags. Then she left the airport and disappeared into the crowd, just like the ending scene of Hannibal Lecter did in the film The Silence of the Lambs. It just sort of disappeared into the... But what caused her walk of shame, and why were all the people pointing and looking? What happened earlier? So, 2 hours and 25 minutes before this, our Megan, who is a writer and actress, boarded her flight from Newark going to Indianapolis. She felt a little uneasy. She had not felt this way before. Well, not to this extreme, and she thought she was in for a rough ride. The future proved to be her confirmation. After sitting in a seat, she began sweating, but sweating profusely. And as her flight took off to the skies, she suffered painful cramps in her abdomen. What could it be? She tried to ride out the storm, but she knew she had to get help. She knew what was about to happen. She knew she was about to explode. She had heard once before this happened with another person, and it didn't work out too well for the other passengers around them. So 20 minutes into the flight, she made her way to the front of the plane and had hardly closed the door of the lavatory when she exploded with diarrhea and vomiting. The cabin crew could hear her suffering and smelling that the situation was not good. The stench was overpowering. They passed her paper bags to be sick in and confined her to the compact lavatory. The isolated from the rest of the passengers, who could only hear muffled groans of "Oh my God." The experience was so intense that the captain, as an emergency measure, allowed her to remain in the bathroom even when the plane landed at its destination, with calls of "brace yourself" as the plane touched down, which I imagine she was doing throughout the rest of her flight.
Yeah.
Anyway. The bathroom remained closed, with Megan inside, until all the passengers were disembarked. The last passengers to leave the plane met with people wearing hazmat suits coming the other way. When they arrived on board, declared the next flight of the aircraft cancelled, so much was the carnage. One of the cabin crew informed her that she had left behind her a biohazard. So what caused this explosive incident? Well, we'd have to go back another 10 hours, as Megan was in Portugal, and she thinks it was because she was chowing down on an undercooked Portuguese hamburger.
Yeah.
This doesn't really explain the complete truth, as very few people would risk eating a hamburger they knew was undercooked, let alone being in Portugal. Could it have been the non-potable potable water in the airport in Lisbon? Could it have been a salad with bad mayo eaten during her stay in the southern European country? The jury is still out on that one. I don't think even Elliot Stalder from Law and Order SVU could work that one out. Anyway, she took the 8-hour flight from Lisbon to Newark, during which time the devil was at play, preparing her for an extreme experience 9 or 10 hours later.
Yeah.
At the same time, a fight broke out on a Ryanair flight going from London to Stansted, apparently sparked by a baby crying. Of course, brawling in the centre aisle of an aeroplane in flight, as we know, settles baby down and to make them sleep. Of course it does.
Yeah.
They love it. I could have opted to go into detail of the Ryanair problem, but our friend's predicament on the American Airlines flight, I thought was much more funnier.
No.
But see, these stories are becoming more common on flights, which makes me ask: this is of people losing their rag and people
Yeah.
arguing and fighting,
Mm,
and they're becoming more common on flights, which makes me ask if flying is all that safe after all.
mm. Okay.
So off you go with that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, okay. I'm going to start with the fight one, your last story.
Yeah.
Um, I think in society overall at the moment, I think people are more on edge for some reason. Yeah, in social situations. Obviously, yeah, Ryanair. Yeah, there's always been a joke about Ryanair and things, but yeah, I mean, um, yeah, there is a thing. Children on planes can be irritating. I mean, you anyone that's never been a parent, it's all right saying, "Oh, can you make that child be quiet?" and all that. Well, not really. No, it's not that easy. And I mean, my daughter was loved it on planes. She loved being on a plane, and that was it. Yeah, even from a young age. Yeah, she was flying here and everywhere. But I wouldn't have had a baby when born on a plane as a baby because I do think that's unfair. Well, it depends on circumstances. But yeah, we have to be tolerant for people with children. Yeah, and even before I had a child, I was. Yeah, I know we
Yeah.
moan about restaurants, the kids in restaurants and things. Yeah, depends on the restaurant. If it's a family restaurant, yeah, okay, you're going to have children there. You opt to be in that. Um, I'm afraid, yeah, if you're on a flight, it's a family thing. You're not playing for the executive seats. You're going to have to.
As yeah, right, you beat me to it because Ryanair. Why do people fly Ryanair?
Mm,
It wasn't a Heathrow to Lisbon flight. It was a Stansted to Lisbon flight,
yeah,
and you fly Ryanair because of the price,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right? And so if you're paying low dollar for your
mm,
for your flight, you
yeah,
have to expect you're not going to be in first class in
yes,
Saudi Airways,
yeah, that's
right?
it. Emirates, yeah, yeah,
And so coming back to the restaurant scenario,
yeah,
if you're in a transport cafe and you're
mm,
paying your £2 for a coffee,
yeah,
whatever it is,
yeah.
you're not paying £7 for a coffee with cream and stuff like
No,
that.
yeah,
Then you have to be open to these unfortunate situations in life,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know why people explode over something,
Well,
you know.
we 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 yeah. I mean, okay, in the UK and all, yeah, it's entitlement. People feel a lot more entitled now.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, and even to objecting. I mean, not so much in the UK. In the US, we're seeing people exploding when people have just had a certain red cap on. Yeah,
Sure.
which it's not illegal to have that cap on. Um,
They've even been taken off planes for wearing them.
Well, now the other thing is the people they're now complaining of being taken off the planes, and the guy, yeah, it's we've all got to learn to get along and be tolerant. Okay, anyone that's wearing that cap in certain situations might be provocative, but they're entitled to be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have abusive language on it or anything else, directly abusive language, whatever your beliefs are. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's another extremist. But yeah, when you talk about children in situations, yeah, I mean, okay, depends what the child is doing. I mean, obviously, if a child is kicking the seat behind you and doing that, then maybe you're entitled to at least have a word with the parent, yeah, or call the stewardess over. Do you mind if I speak to the parent? This is happening. Yeah, I think the child, yeah, is exceeding what is acceptable norms. A child making a noise or saying, "Daddy, Daddy, what do you think of my picture?" and everything else like this is acceptable. And in fact, I like to hear that because it's a child being happy. Yeah. And heaven knows they're not going to be that forever. Um, so, yes, people got like to be more tolerant. Now, with the poor unfortunate lady
There
who
you go.
had, yeah, who had um, the medical emergency, let's call it
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I feel very sorry for her. I mean, literally, that could happen to anyone. Um,
Well, we have to look at all the circumstances, sir.
yeah, yeah,
Where she had chance not to take the second plane
yeah.
because
Well,
she had this unusual feeling before she boarded the flight.
well, yeah. We all do things uh like this. We all do activities that, yeah, maybe we think, oh, I'm going to be okay. Life's a risk, etc., etc., etc.
Certainly was.
Yeah,
It's a risk to everybody.
yeah. I mean, in fairness to the airline and the crew on the airline, they acted with a
They
good,
did.
yeah, with a good deal of
Yes.
decorum and respect for her. Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yep.
think there might be security reasons why. I think it's a bit unfair they made her go and collect her own bag. I mean, under the circumstances, I think somebody could have got that for her.
Yeah.
But um, I think most people would be understanding in the situation that, as we say, shit happens. Yeah. and and yeah, you don't often hear me swear, but I do feel in this case it's quite
Yes.
literally true. And yeah, poor lady. I mean, okay, she made a decision, whatever the driver behind it. She had a ticket. She did, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's certainly a story that she might bring up at Christmas dinner or something.
You know, well, I got the story from one of the sources that I get my
Yeah,
information from.
yeah.
But apparently she went on TikTok and she explained it all herself.
Oh,
You
right,
know,
okay.
she's been a TikToker for about 10 years now,
Oh,
apparently.
right, okay.
It's in her niche.
Yeah,
She's quite a famous lady, you
yeah,
know. So she I think she decided to share it before
yeah.
it became headline
Yeah,
without her saying anything about it.
before it went viral. Yeah, yeah. It's
Which I think she was more viral than the story.
uh okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean she was probably quite red faced at the time, possibly, so to speak. I just wonder what you say to someone. You brace yourself. Can you assume brace position, please? I'm already there, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, she was doing
Yeah.
it throughout the whole flight.
Uh, in fairness, I suffered a burger incident, not quite like this. Um, Many years ago, well, quite a few years ago, yeah. I had to have a drugs and alcohol test as part of my job. Yeah, I was subject to
Mm.
DNA testing. Yeah, yeah. Even today, I'm careful what I say put in my body. Yeah, I read every label. I don't know why. Well, it's just in case I end up in my own industry and inadvertently take something that maybe I shouldn't be bad news to have there. Drug, obviously, I don't participate in what's known as recreational um, things. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, years ago I had a hamburger, and then I had to I was subject to drugs and alcohol. Well, what actually happened? Must have been a bad hamburger. That's what I put it down to again. Yeah, I can't say because the trouble is with food poisoning or food. Yeah, it could be something you ate a month earlier. As
That's right. That's right.
the,
That's why I said
yeah,
she put it down to a raw hamburger, and I thought, well, it can't be because nobody would eat a raw hamburger
no.
if they knew
So
it was raw.
yes, so you can have something that stays in your gut and emerges at an unfortunate time. Yeah, and that's why food poisoning cases are very difficult to prove.
That's right.
Um, yeah, and yeah, I had to have this, and because of this, I became very dehydrated. And then when you do go and do a DNA test, you have to give a sample of your urine. Yeah, and I could not get any urine. And I'm at the test center, and I was in danger of doing a refusal. Yeah, and a refusal is a refusal is a positive test to all intents and purposes. Yeah, um, and I've said to the guy, look, just going to have to drink lots of water. And given I had a 2 hour drive again after this test to get back home, I'm sitting there just trying to drink water, just trying to get hydrated to give him a required amount. Yeah. I mean, the guy was very understanding. He found it quite amusing. I found it quite amusing. Yeah. I did have to ask him, can you not pressure me, please? You know, because it's not helping. Yeah, because obviously they have to monitor you. You can't just go and fill the cup up on your own leisure somewhere. Yeah. You have to be in the center, and they have to escort you into the place where you're doing the business, as it were, and then take it straight away and take the temperature. Yeah. So obviously I'm drinking lots and lots of water and everything else. And yeah, I had the reverse problem from her actually. I couldn't do anything. Yeah, I couldn't give any samples. Um, I asked if he could do a blood sample, and he said, well, it's a bit more complicated. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah. So I had to reverse it. I was suffering dehydration because of evidently something I ate. Yeah. Um, yeah, just brought it to mind. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these food things, yeah, we think we're going to be okay. Yeah. I was driving to the test centre knowing I was going to be dehydrated, but I wasn't in a situation that I could cancel the test, given that I had a job pending on it. Yeah. Without it looking suspicious. Yeah. Can you delay me having the DNA, the drug and alcohol testing for another week, please? Yeah. Well, I'm afraid you don't have a job anymore, which was quite justifiable because that could look very, very suspicious. Yeah. And I must
I'm,
admit, yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure that I'm sure that Megan's neighbour on that aeroplane, because at the end of the day, you're in a cylinder,
yeah.
a closed cylinder. You can't open the windows, you can't open a door to let the air in.
Mm.
So, what happens in the cylinder stays in the cylinder. And luckily for her neighbour sat next to her on the aeroplane, she didn't cough or sneeze because that would have been a disaster.
Well, I mean, didn't we do a podcast a while ago about a deceased that was left in a seat? Was it? Did we do a podcast or some years ago? There was
Oh, it was a long
yeah,
time ago.
somebody actually unfortunately died and couldn't do anything with the body. They just had to leave it. Somebody was in a flight all the way back with the
Uh,
deceased next to them. Yeah. Um, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like you say, is flying the ideal? I don't think it is. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I'll be quite honest. I live where I live now. I've got no desire to get on an airplane and go anywhere at the moment for a variety of different reasons. I can do. I mean, there's no restrictions on me traveling that I know about. Yeah. Um, but I that'd be a shock, isn't it? Sorry, Mr. Townsend, you're no longer allowed to fly on any flight. I'm not at liberty to tell you that. Yeah. Yeah, this poor woman, I would hope that she isn't banned from flying anymore, but I imagine that she's going to now have a very strict be strict on herself of what she eats, her dietary needs. I like the
It could have been worse, that she could have initiated this as the plane was landing, and she tried to try and hold on, and when the plane hit
like,
the tarmac,
yeah,
that's when she exploded.
yeah, well,
That would have been funny.
yeah. So,
Funnier.
yeah, talking to trains, I mean, I used to work on the railway industry, trackside, yeah, yeah, years ago, and it's absolutely true. When you flush the toilet, it went down onto the track.
Onto the track, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I've been standing in what we call a restricted space area. Yeah, we're
Mm.
safe, but yeah, and when you're looking along and you see the train come along, and you're seeing this this mist, this water mist as the train coming towards you, and you've got no way of getting out of its way. All you could do is
Yeah.
hold your breath, cover your face, and hope that you don't catch anything. Yeah. They used to say, "Oh, it's reasonably safe." Yeah, I'm standing there, no way. And yes, we used to find um, the remains when people had evidently eaten a bad burger, sometime before.